Welcome back to Retro Wednesday, the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about something that's not retro, but it's a modern take on retro items. And there's really not a lot of news about the Super 7 Ultimates, but this is the reveal for the next wave, Vultureman and the Skycutter vehicle. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. And as I am the self-proclaimed biggest Super 7 shill, I'm going to tell you that I think it's cool, but I don't think it's the one they should have done, and I'll explain why, but I probably will still get one. And I think Vultureman is a good selection for the toy coloration. We do still have a couple of waves of figures that are coming, that have been announced, pre-orders, and all of that before we see the Skycutter, before we see this. So we're now going to be 3 waves deep, but they haven't put the pre-orders up yet. They haven't given the price, although we probably can just assume it. It's pretty basic. And there's more stuff coming that we haven't gotten yet, but I'm more excited about kind of the future, kind of what's past this. But we'll talk about all this and more coming up. Alright, so the cover reveal for Toy Collector Magazine was on Geek Dad Life with Jay Gladfelder. Gladfelder? Am I saying that right? Anyway, this is really a fun way, I guess, to learn about what's coming. Something that we used to do back in the day. We didn't have all the internet, and the magazines were how we learned about stuff, how we found out things were coming, and then we waited forever, what seemed like, for it to show up at the store. And that's just the reality of it. But it was kind of fun, kind of a throwback to get a cover reveal of something that still hasn't been revealed in any other way, shape, or form. No pre-orders are up or anything, but let's talk about this. First thing I want to talk about is Vultureman. Now, why are they putting him out in toy colors? Why is this part of the wave? Why don't we get a whole new character? And why not Tigra? Why not Tigra? The reason I think it's not Tigra is because I think they're going to put Tigra out in the deluxe form, and it's going to be at Target. It's not going to be as good as the first one, believe it or not. As many of the people that have paint issues, this one will probably have the elbow pad, but it probably will not have nearly the level of paint the Wave 2 one did. So that is my prediction, and that's the reason I don't think it's coming out in this way. Plus, of course, Tigra wouldn't be flying on the Skycutter anyway. So the first thing I do when I hear that something's getting reissued or there's going to be a new version of an old figure is look to old eBay and see what's out there. There are very few Vultureman figures on eBay, number one. And every place is sold out of them, technically, but I'm going to show you a hack that you can still get one for a reasonable price. But if you look up there, somebody's selling an opened Super 7 Ultimates Groon and Vultureman for $105, which is a decent value. I think these were early on, so they were $45 each, so $90 back in the day. Now it's $105, $10 late tax is not a bad deal. So that's a pretty good deal. Someone should jump on that, I believe, if you want to get a Vultureman. And then down below, there are 112 from France with 57 shipping. And then $300, you got to buy other figures that you probably already have, which is, again, the problem. It is a problem. BBTS has it sold out, and BBTS, when they're sold out, pretty much everybody else follows. Everybody else seems to be sold out once they're sold out. Good choice on Vultureman as a toy color redeco. You're not going to get the exact same thing, so you're not getting this version. You're getting the toy color version. And if it's probably going to be $55. 55 is the standard pricing on those. And as you can see right here, though, they've got a sale on, this was Wave 5. So you can get the whole Wave 5 for $131, which is actually not bad at all if you want any of those other figures. If you want at least one other figure in there, if not two. But also, you could just be a little clever and buy your $132 set and sell the other 3 off for even $20 each or $30 each and maybe recoup some of that money. That's an option too. Now for the Skycutter, let's do a side-by-side of the vintage one. So there's going to be a lot of improvements to it, but here's what I have kind of sort of a problem with, in a way. And I'm still kind of okay with it. The vintage one will fit a an Ultimates figure just fine. And you can go out and get a vintage one, and I'll show that here in a little bit, but you get it for like $50. It's not a hard vehicle to get, not an expensive vehicle to get. It's not hard in any way, shape, or form, but it is very fragile vehicle, and it has a gimmick where flappy wing gimmick on the vintage one. Now you look, the vintage one's got a darker color to it. The newer one is lighter, and then it's more cartoon accurate. Not really sure how I'm going to work this out in editing, but I'm sure it's going to work. But it shows that it is more cartoon accurate, and that's the one plus to this. But $150 to get it cartoon accurate when you can go get yourself a vintage one for $50. Now, there's an argument back and forth on this. One of the problems that we're seeing here with this is that these vehicles aren't going to be going on sale like we saw with Mandora and her Electrocharger. We see that it's on sale right now. You can get like $120 instead of $150. And that's a good value. I don't see this happening because we didn't see it with the Ultimate Space Racer, and we're not going to see that with these going forward. They're probably just going to produce the pre-order number and then an additional 10%, maybe 15%. And with that, you're not going to be seeing super deep clearances on these. And you're not going to see people picking them up and sell them used on the secondary market for half the price like we did with the Electrocharger. But anyhow, this is more cartoon accurate, and as you can see, kind of that middle thing where, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's from the handles all the way to the front cannon. That whole area is a lot more cartoon accurate than the vintage toy was, and then you look at the base of it and everything, that's more accurate down to the wings and how the wheels fold in. Last thing I want to say about this is you're spending $150 on this, but I guarantee you it's going to be way more solid than a vintage one. The vintage one is real fiddly. It has a flapping mechanism. I don't think they'll put a flapping mechanism in it so the wings won't flap. And I don't really want that. I want it to look good on the shelf. So it is going to be a much more solid piece than any of the vintage ones that exist. No matter what condition your vintage one is, it has that feature in it, and it is more fiddly than what Super 7 is going to provide. If you want to go onto the good old eBay and you want to buy yourself a vintage one and put your Ultimates figure on a vintage one, it should fit. I think when I did my entire video covering everything made in LJN Thundercats, that I did put Ultimates figures on every vehicle to make sure that they fit, and some of them are a little snug. It's a tight fit a little bit, but these figures are almost the same size anyway. So anyhow, you could make it work one way, shape, or form. So you see anywhere from $50, $60, you get a complete one. You might want to look a little closer at these to see if any of these are like damaged. If they definitely look for damage on these. Okay, so when I looked this up just to double check, it says wave 12. It's hard to keep track of what wave we're on, so we're getting pretty deep into Thundercats. Now I want to talk a little about this. I already talked about these in the past, but this is a 3-figure wave. I guess we're counting a little train thing as a character because he's a $65 figure. To get good old Joe there, Safari Joe. But we've got one figure that's a blatant repaint, and then 2 new figures. I'm okay with it. It's a decent wave, but this is scheduled out in October. So we're looking at waiting on this one to come, and then the wave previous to this that we should get in April is still on the way. So we have the Mumra and Lion-O LED eyes, and I'm not even sure if they named this as a wave, because this was, in my understanding, an exclusive, because they put it up as an exclusive at a con, but I'm not sure. Super 7 Con All-Stars. So I don't know if they named it a wave, called it a wave or not, but anyway, it's still due out in April. $85 for Mumra. I think that the Lion-O was $65. We still don't have this yet, so we're talking a couple waves behind until we get to the new one with the Skycutter and the Vultureman. But still, like, these are just characters we already have. I don't feel like this moves the line forward at all. But it does introduce a new buck for Lion-O. I don't know if Mumra's buck's going to be new or not. Now, this wave here is supposed to be due out in February. So this month is supposed to be coming out. It has Claudus and it has Thunderian Guard, Luna and Amok, and a Row Bear Bill. Row Bear Bill. And with that, it is a solid wave also, due out next. So you've got 2 waves. You've got some either recolored or rebooted characters that are on the way. And then we get Skycutter and Vultureman, which are not up for pre-order yet. Now everybody's enjoying their Cats Lair. I have yet to get around to opening up mine and dealing with it. I need to get it open and do stuff with it, but I've got too many other projects in the way, and it's a big set, and it'll take a lot of time, and I don't want to break it. I don't want to rush it, and so when I get to it, I'll get to it. But this looks amazing. These are Gibbs pictures, and he always does a fantastic job. I believe these are Gibbs pictures, but he does a fantastic job with his lighting and his setup, and it's so neat and clean. Looks fantastic. And then here's a picture showing off the light, and that looks great. I think they delivered a great product here. There are some people reporting some breakages on like a peg that pegs into those 2 walls. The clamshell close in the back, and there's a peg to hold together. One of the pegs breaks, is what I'm understanding. And there's been a few issues here and there that people reported, and of course shipping issues. But with all that, at the end of the day, it's still a very impressive set that they actually executed. This is the Mattel crossover with Motu to Thundercats, which I'm not super excited about. I probably will go in on them. Most people believe this won't go past 12 figures. The TMNT line looks like they got like 18 of them or something. But this looks like it won't go past 12. Is what people are saying, guessing, assuming. There's no fact to that. But, you know, if they only make 12, I could be down for 12 and one and done. 12 and done. If they're doing like 50 of them, I don't know if I'd be in on all that. But, I might bite. So we've got this one here, which is called the black and red version. Remember the ever-living BBTS exclusive. And then there's also the Dream Master, which is clear. So this one's, they're both $75, which was really confusing that the first figure came out at $60. And the mold's paid for, but they can't put out just recolors at $60 with less items. You don't get a mama with these. You can't put that out at $60 or even a little less, because of the fact that you've got the mold made. So that's frustrating, which makes me want to wait and catch them on sale. Will they go on sale? I don't know. And I can live without them, but they're very interesting. I'd like to have them, but why can't they be priced a little bit better since the mold's already paid for? The tooling's already paid for. Snuffer's already back in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. It sold out, was out for over a week, and then just magically one day, poof, there it is. And then if you click quantity, it goes to past 20, goes to 25, 24. So they've got several in stock if you want to get a Snarfer. But it's so strange. Sold out doesn't mean sold out in 2025. All right, we have a few other vehicle options they could have made instead of making this Skycutter. Now, I think they're trying to maintain that $150 price point. This feliner, which I'm going to get into talking about these unreleased things, like everything unreleased for Thundercats in a future Retro Wednesday video. But this feliner is something that fans always wanted. And it's on the size scale of Thunder Tank when you look at it from a vintage standpoint. Like the vintage toy would have been as big as Thunder Tank with wings. A little longer than the Thunder Tank, but narrower than the Thunder Tank. And have wings. That's kind of the way it looks like to me, how it would have been. But as an Ultimates, they would of course make it bigger. It's going to be larger if they were to make it. So this probably wouldn't meet the $150 price point. Although I'd love it to. It probably wouldn't. I still would love to see it. Here's my thing. If you're going to be making this stuff, why not make stuff that was never made before and deliver? I don't think a feliner should be $500 like the Thunder Tank was. I think that this thing should be maybe in the $250 range if they could pull that off. I don't see why they couldn't, but could they pull it off? So then past that, there's this Laser Saber Thunder Strike. And this is a smaller vehicle. It fits 3 figures and could be the $150 price point. I don't see why it shouldn't be the $150 price point if they could make this. Unreleased, unproduced items. This is something that's an opportunity that probably will not ever come again once Super 7's moved on from Thundercats, because they're probably not going to make Thundercats for 30 years. There's going to be a time where they stop making it, where it's not viable anymore. If this isn't made, who's going to make it? Now, this probably will never get made. It's probably not something I wouldn't pony up $150 for it, but it is another thing. It's the Luna Tacker toy, and it's unreleased. Another option they could have made for a vehicle, but yes, I probably think that the Skycutter is a better option than this. The choice for the Skycutter really boils back down to the same old adage. The things that were more or less common and easily attainable back in the day are things that people have more nostalgia for, more attachment to, but the unproduced stuff, less people have attachment to or nostalgia for those things, and for that, those probably aren't going to be as in high demand. I don't know what level of demand this is going to be in, and they did say that it can convert to a ground vehicle also, and some other things they were talking about, but I'll wait till the official reveals to talk more about this. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think this was a good choice or a bad choice? Did these updates help you stay in the loop on what's going on with Thundercats? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Happy Retro Wednesday. Tydirium Hanger out.